Hello, geometry. We had a request to take a look at number 6 on 11.4, and we'll take a look at that one now. So when you get to number 6, you're getting into a composite solid. That means that there are two or more different types of shapes that are put together to make the complete solid. So in this particular problem, if you look at, you've got a curved edge kind of on this outside, and then you've got kind of a prism shape that we're familiar with. If I cut it off right here, what we're going to form is a rectangular prism on this side, and then a half of a cylinder over here on this side. And then these measurements, I'm going to use the 12 to help me with the diameter of that cylinder. The 10 is going to represent the height of that cylinder, kind of laying on its side there, to start helping me find those measurements. First, we're going to organize ourselves and start to figure out what shapes we're using and then what formulas we're using. So first, we're going to find the volume of the prism, which we'll call volume of the PRI. And to find volume of a prism, we take the area of its base times its height. And you've probably figured out in a rectangular prism, you're just basically multiplying all three dimensions together. So length times width times height. Secondly, you're going to be finding the volume of 1/2 of a cylinder. So we have two different shapes making up this composite solid. So I have half of a cylinder. If I would find the whole cylinder, I would be overlapping some of that volume that's inside of that prism. So I'm not going to find the volume of a whole cylinder, just half of that cylinder. And then we're going to adjust the volume of a cylinder formula to 1/2 pi r squared h. So we're only finding half of it, so we're going to put that 1/2 there out in front. So volume of your prism, you're going to take your three dimensions, which are 10 times 12 times 24. And volume of your half cylinder, we're going to take 1/2 times pi. Now using the prism measurement over here is 12, so that means that the radius of my circle from here to here is half of 12, which is 6. So there's your radius. Squared times the height of that cylinder. And the height of your cylinder, I'm just going to change colors here to green. The height of your cylinder is going to be that measurement, which is 10. So there's your height. Then we'll have to go and calculate both of these, and then we'll talk about what we do to find the total volume. So first, we'll take our 10 times 12 times 24. There's our 2,880. That would represent our volume of our prism. Secondly, we're going to take half of our volume of a cylinder. So I'm just going to put a 0.5 times pi times my radius squared times the height of that cylinder was 10. And then there's a volume of half of my cylinder. Now, talking about the full volume, since we found the volume of the prism was 2,880, we found the volume of the half cylinder, we are now going to add those two together. So I'll just keep track here. There's our 2,880. Ooh, getting kind of crazy on my eights. And then we had a 565.5 measurement there. Okay, and heading back to the calculator, a little trick that you can do. Once you've made some calculations, you can hit the up arrow. We're going to take that 2,880. We're going to add to that the 565.48. So you can just hit up arrow. You can go back and find any calculations you've made. And there's our final result. So we'll take 3,445.48. So I'm only looking at the 4. So 48 would not round up to the next dollar. That's going to stay at 3445. So my final answer is going to be, volume of the whole thing is going to be 3,445 inches squared. Oops, cubed. Sorry. There's going to be my total volume. So composite solids, when we get two or more different shapes together, we can start to find their volumes.